Hello and welcome to another installment of this ongoing series of cardboarding Vader life. Yeah, for the first time since I'm doing this thing, bonsoir, Cookie Communist, I have continued a little bit of work when I was not on camera, because I thought it would be very boring to see me do the same thing again, or basically the same thing. And I rebuilt this mouthpiece for Vader, and I changed it to this here. I will go to the full screen. I changed it to this. I wasn't happy with the very thick outlines here and the very thick grades here in the middle, and I didn't like the fact that this was like too egg-shaped and not like this. So I also angled it a bit more here, as you can see. So it's angled a bit more to the back side, and yeah, I think this is a better representation of what I want it to be. And yeah, I've done that offline since the last live stream. And what I've done too is I continued to smooth out the surface of the helmet. So for the people that saw me doing the last live stream, there might be a noticeable difference here. Okay, I haven't touched the helmet, but what else was done in the meantime, or what I did in the meantime, is that I continued to like fill in some of the gaps in the lower part of the helmet. But yeah, that's like minor changes. Major thing is here I hit the top line a bit more, and I rebuilt this part here. I think it looks a bit more aggressive this way, or yeah, I think this is a change for the better, and this thing is now, I don't know, maybe I can use it as a chain emblem kind of thing for the Vader mask. Yeah, I will see. This goes away. Here is the new mouthpiece. I will try to show it in some more full screen fashion here. Yeah. The grating was done live. I just included it now. Okay. Today is yeah, what I will try to incorporate this into the mask now. I'm not really sure how I will achieve it, but yeah, this should go in here, and I would like to work a bit on the inside wall of the collar piece. I need to smooth out this inside wall from in the top part, or in this front part of the collar piece, so that I can start to build some kind of structure that will hold both pieces together. Where yeah, something needs to be built in here to have both pieces joined together securely. Yep, that's the plan for today. Thank you. I think you mean this. There's a comment here which says nice, and yeah, I like it this way. It's a bit more more detailed, not this very broad approach towards it. One more thing that I will have to fix is if you here view the mask from the front side, there's an offset here. This crown piece, I call this the crown piece. Crown piece is shifted to the right, and I think it's quite visible if you look at the helmet straight on. That here, this piece is to or here it's the curvature is very visible. Here it's not very visible. I'm not sure if I'm going to cut a piece away here and rebuild the curve, or if I add some stuff here. This is something that I will have to decide. I don't know if I will decide it on this live stream. Okay, just kidding. Here I also fixed a bit of the inside of the eyelid, and there's still some leftovers from me trying to fix it, but that will be done in the next step. What I will start with is for the symmetry thing here. On this side there's less mass here behind the corner of the eye as opposed to here, so I will add some cardboard on this side. Let me grab a pencil. Whoopa. So hello to all viewers. Nice to have you. And I caught a little bit of a cold, where the weather is like very unstable right now, and I was just dressed inappropriately. Which piece of cardboard can I use here? I will try it with this, but I'm not really sure if this is the right thing. Yeah, I will roughly mark the kind of shape that I need for this part, and then I will start to cut it. Overall, I think the helmet is moving along quite well, and what I did between this live broadcast here and the previous one, meaning that I tried to, or not tried to, that I continued building or working on the model, will be something that I continue, for it will just take too long if I stream everything online. But the stuff that I will do, like not live or off air, will just be like a continuation of what I have already shown on stream and where I talked about. So I just try to I just try to make sure that there's not too much of the same process going on, for I can't, or I wouldn't be able to add anything new to the process. And I just use processes or techniques that I've established in the live stream before that. Okay, here I need a new blade for my knife. For when I trim the edges, or when I angle the edges of the cardboard, it is very beneficial to have a very sharp blade to it. This way I'm less likely to cut myself, or I don't really have to force the blade through the cardboard. It will more or less glide through it. Here, I'm angling the edges to have more, or to take away the edge of the cardboard, because here the piece of the surface that I'm working on, it's like a valley, and I want to fill up this valley with some cardboard. And I just try to prepare the edges of the cardboard in a way that everything just will produce a flat surface once I'm done. If I'm gluing on this whole very thick piece of cardboard, I will have a lot of work to get rid of the edges. So this is a very efficient technique for filling in any kinds of holes or valleys or cracks or surface things that you want to change. Okay, then now I will try to fit it again. Okay, this starts to look better. I might move it up like this. I want to keep this curvature, and now I already had a pencil, just to remember the rotation of this piece. I will here put a little marking down. This way I can remember rotation and position of this piece of cardboard. Okay, here I got multiple bottles of my glue here. For there, most of them are like here. There's like a third left in them, and I will combine all of them into one bottle, because it is let me just it is an easier process for me, or working goes along faster if I have a nearly or a bottle that's full. For I don't have to wait until all the glue is moving to the front of the bottle so that I can apply it. And yeah, that's why here I have multiples, and I will combine them once one is nearing the lower 1/3 mark. Okay, this piece will, I will give this cardboard piece a bit of time, as I pointed out most of the times, for the glue to get sticky and the cardboard to soften. So, to everyone watching, any kinds or any kind of question will be answered, or I will state that I won't answer. If you got a question about technique or whatever, or if you just want to say hi, like I said hi to Cookie Communist, so I can say hi to everyone that I see in the chat. Yeah, what I need to do at the lower part here, where I let this soak in a bit, and meanwhile I can just work on some other parts of the model. This here, if you watch this, here, this is curved inwards on both sides, and I want it to be straight here, like this. For this tubing on the side of the helmet, the lower tube is a completely straight rod that is moving from front to back, and then there is the two screws here. And to prepare the underlying surface for that, I will try to straighten this out here. And by doing that, I'm giving more strength to this side and this side, and that will allow me to get rid of this the parts that are in here. For first, you can see they're not really symmetrical, and I will build other structures to the inside here, and everything you can see here that is still like very, very rough was just a structural foundation for the building of the rough shape, so I can get rid of it now. Here. This should be ready to apply, and now it comes in very handy that I marked the surface. I don't know if this is really visible on camera. I will try to use an additional light here. Yeah, I think you can see a bit of it, but I think you understand the concept. Sometimes I forget the orientation that I wanted to use a piece of cardboard in. When I do something else between applying the glue and fitting the piece, then it's sometimes a bit tough to remember what I was trying to do. And this way I don't have to worry to accidentally apply it in a way that I didn't intend for it. I started the live stream a bit later today. For normally I started 9 o'clock German time, 9 p.m. here in Germany, but today we had the what would you call it in America? The presidential debate, where both candidates presented themselves in a debate with each other, and I wanted to watch it to be able to have an informed decision. Yeah, I watched that with my son, and that's why I'm a bit late today with the live stream. Yeah, before I really completely press it down, I think I will get rid of this overlap here. Okay, that's not very easy to cut. Can you hear it? Or have you been able to hear this noise? That was like screeching on a blackboard with your fingernails. It's not the most pleasant sound. Okay, now here there's a little gap there. I can just take some of the leftovers here and just push it in there while I'm in the area. Okay, that was a very optimistic attempt. It was way too little cardboard. Okay, I will compress the cardboard before I put it in there, so I don't need to cut the edges. Okay, I will give this a bit of time now. For it to soak in a bit, and when it is soaked into this part, for right now the thickness is more than I need, and if I just compress it with my fingers without any glue on the inside, it will slowly regain height. But when I push in some glue before I push it down, the glue will prevent it from coming back up. Okay, and I will here prepare the surface that I will attach it to. And then this should be this looks better. Now there's just a little bit of curvature needed here, and then these two sides should be roughly identical, at least up to here. And I don't know if if you can really notice from watching the stream how much the proportions changed from the first like rough draft to up to this point. But yeah, it's quite a lot actually, and I hope that I took some photographs in the beginning stages, or that I can pull some good stills from the video where I can like show a progression of the mask, and then you should see that a lot of the surface details are like jumping all over the place. It became smaller. It actually just looks smaller. For the... it might be for... In the beginning, I always had the helmet on there. So and it looks way bigger with the helmet. But the size is basically the same. And everything... For here you can see this is still all the structure that was there in the beginning. And I just added to the top of it. For I took the measurements of my head here, and yeah, this is still the same. Ah, okay. Shenanigans. Yeah, very good that I went for it. Okay, but I think it's a valid point. That's why I try to answer it or try to respond to it. For once there's less shadows on the surface, it appears smaller. For once the surface gets very smooth and everything, stuff tends to look smaller, and every detail that is casting a shadow adds to the perceived thickness. It just looks a bit bigger when there's a lot of technical detail on there, which means that the helmet will appear a bit bigger once I start to add in the details here on the crown. And one thing why it is actually a bit smaller is the fact that I removed this piping from the side. And this here, once the piping is reapplied, it will be roughly the thickness of my fingers. It helps the mass of the helmet. Hello, Bevisorio Games. Welcome back, and thanks for visiting. That's very nice. No, but it seems smaller, to be honest. Even though I know it's the same structure as in the beginning. Yeah, I try to explain that. It definitely appears smaller now. For it's just this smooth surface and all. Okay, the glue seems to stick here. Yeah. I will be back in 30 seconds. Just wait. Okay, I'm back again. I tried to locate my paint thinner to remove some super glue from my fingers. Well, I was working on some 3D printed stuff prior to coming here or starting this, and it just yeah, it's a very, I don't know, lizard skin kind of feel on my fingers, and I wanted to remove it, but I'm not able to locate the paint thinner. Okay, now I will add in the curvature on the top here. And after that, I will start to insert this into the helmet, which will be very interesting, or at least for me it will be interesting, how easy or hard it will be to actually match the surfaces. I mean, I modeled it off each other, or I took the basic measurements from here. But what I have to watch out for is that I don't disturb the lowest line of this helmet. And now once I change anything that is touching this separation line here, whether be it on the top part of the mask or on the lower part, I have to apply these changes on both halves of the model so that I have a seamless fit. I have a bit of a wiggle room for the tubing that will be on the side here. Actually hides the joining line. That's why it's there. And yeah, I will make the tubing a bit bigger or a bit wider as compared to this pen here. But yeah, I have to, so once I touch one of the edges of the model, I have to make sure to do it to the other side too. What was I doing? Yep, I tried to add curvature to the top here, and there I really don't need, it's just here in the, right here at the edge there. Here you can see, so it's not one curve that is flowing down, but here on this side it is like curve flowing down. It's like one continuous curve, and here the curve is a bit broken in the middle. That means this is the highest point in the whole thing, so I will like start around there. Then it's here just behind the eyes. I don't need it to go down any further than here. Okay, so just like it might be helpful in the beginning if you're trying to do stuff like this, just to look at the area that you want to affect with your change. And right now, this is the area that I want to raise, and I just want it to be completely raised in the middle here, and then I want it to taper off into the surrounding surface. Or when you, if you like sketch it onto your model, you have a better understanding of the dimension of cardboard that you will need. So, but here my initial sketch thing was good enough, or close enough to what I want. And now to have it blend into the rest of the mask, I will once again just angle off the edges of the cardboard. And it's much easier with a longer knife, where you got more control and you can actually do this like sawing motion, which helps the cut. And this way you don't really have to apply pressure to the cardboard and you don't accidentally squash it. Okay, once you're cutting towards your body, and here I have a lot of little cuts from this, always make sure that your edge, your blade, is not fully extended. For if it would be fully extended, then I could like completely cut into my hand. And yeah, just make sure you're aware of the length of the blade. Okay, now this is like cutting styrofoam. And as you can see here, there's a nice like triangular fall off towards the edge of the cardboard. Okay, so now I will test fit it, even though this is not what I want here. I will pre-sculpt it a bit, so I have an easier time to conform it to the surface. And this looks just as I wanted to. Okay, I will round off the edges of it. For curved lines don't show up as distracting as very angular cuts or very angular outlines to the shape. Okay, this once again, a lot of glue, for I want the cardboard to really soften. To have it like really follow the surface that I'm gluing it onto. And I'm pushing it to the inside of the cardboard layers. That sound was questionable. Okay, and here, once I'm done pushing it in there, then I can apply the glue to the rest of the piece. For now, I don't need to hold it down, or there's no need for me to hold it down like this. And now I will let it rest for a while. And if you're wondering why I'm always looking to this side, it's like here is the monitor with the chat and everything on. So I have to like look away. Now maybe I can position this like under the camera, but no, that's difficult because there's light coming from there. Yeah. I just want to make you aware of that. Here, this is a bit unfortunate that this is off-center. And if you look at it from the top, here, like the symmetry in this egg shape is kind of okay. But I think I will take the route of just cutting this piece away as opposed to adding stuff here. Or I fear that if I'm adding stuff onto here, that there will be not enough room under the helmet for all this technical detail stuff that is on top of the helmet, or on top of this crown thing. So I try to stay on the safe side, and the safe side in this case is the inside of the inside of the surface that I have now. So I don't really want to extend it too far, for that might be trouble down the road. Yeah, I will. This can still dry a bit. Here, if you, or maybe it's easier to show it here. If you watch or pay attention to the ridge of the nose, which extends into this thing here, the edges here are too extreme. They have to be softened, and this will be something that I'm doing while I wait for other stuff to dry or whatever. I try to work on more than one piece now, or this thing here, the whole build will take will just if I'm not working a bit faster, this thing will not be finished in time for Christmas. No, I don't. This has to be finished at least 1 month before the new Star Wars movie hits theaters, or that's what I want. Now here I will use the technique that I described before. I just sketch I just mark down the area that I want the cardboard to cover, and sometimes it's hard to transform this here. This is a three-dimensional surface, and it's hard to really visualize how big the piece of cardboard should be that you will or that you want to apply there. And when you mark it down on the surface, it's actually much easier for, then you got a very clearly defined border, and that's easier for your head to pick up, or at least it is for mine. Here now, with a piece as small as this, I have to make sure not to introduce my hands to bleeding cuts. Not for. I always have the tendency to overuse certain words, and today it seems to be for. I do this for, and for that and that reason, and for. I should try to have a bit more variety in my articulation. This piece seems to address my problem, even though it is unnecessarily wide. And here I will address that with the scissors. For right now, there's too much buildup here, and I still want the edge here to be somewhat defined. I think easiest way for me is to just really push in the glue to all the way, or as deep as I can, so the whole piece actually softens, and then I can sculpt it on the surface after I applied it. Right, for me to be able to really push it down in the middle and have it stay there, or have it stay down, I need to add a lot of glue. And this has to soak in, and this piece is ready now. Yeah, I try to always watch the profile of what I'm doing, and then a lot of the times I just try to close one eye, or then it's easier to really focus on the feature that I'm looking at. And it's not yet finished, but this curve looks better than before. Yeah, I have to push it down a bit. I think I can just really judge this curvature here once I remove this part from the crown of the Vader helmet. This was not supposed to go on there. Yeah, once I removed the crown, for right now I can just imagine the way the curve continues under that thing. And if I add anything here now, it might look totally wrong once I cut that piece away. Okay, here it's not a lot of change there. Here there's still the case of this eyebrow being too wide, and here this eyebrow is moving like straight down, and this is like if you're watching it from the front, on a not. The angle is not steep enough on the later part of the curve. There will be some adjustments to that. Here, this is glued into place. Now this piece should be ready for application. Okay. Here, as I mentioned, there's a whole lot of glue in this piece of cardboard, and this was on purpose for now. This here, maybe I can use this camera for it. Let me see if this works. I will switch this and switch this over here. I should be able, for there's so much glue in there, to really sculpt in the edge that I want this to be. Yeah, and it works as expected. And here you can like compare the now smoother transition on the one side to the like very angular transition on the other side. And yeah, this is like a good demonstration for this technique of just filling up the whole piece that you're applying with glue. And because of the very watery substance of the glue, the whole cardboard becomes soft enough to really sculpt. Now, because there's such an amount of glue in here, it always tries, or not always, it will, at least for some time, try to come up. Yeah, because it just needs a whole lot of time before all the moisture from the glue is absorbed by the cardboard. Which in fact just means that I have to recheck and recheck and recheck this patch here, and once I can feel it's really dry, I can stop worrying about it. Okay. This is a really nice technique for some subtle surface curvature. And now I will do the same thing to the other side. And there I can just like do a mirror copy, or do cut a piece of cardboard that is nearly a mirror copy of the one that I had before. Needs to be a bit longer, like this. Yeah, it still wants to come up, and it will continue trying to do that for at least the next 10 minutes. So, as I said, I will have to check and recheck. And now I'm preparing this. Dankeschön. Das ist sehr nett. Schön.
Hast du noch Blackie?
Ein Haar raus. Yeah. Okay. The shape seems to be okay, and I will start to cut the edges. Dankeschön. And after I apply this piece here, I can start to either try to include this breathing mask part, respirator thing, or I cut the crown piece. But I think right now I'm more interested in trying to include this into the build. Yeah, the guest star was my son. He was kind enough to fetch me a drink. For I wasn't able to leave the house before I started this. Yeah. He helped me out there. That is very nice. Hey, and now as I same procedure as for the other side, I will like really apply a lot of glue to this part so that I can model in this the ridge there. The ridge? I don't know. So I can sculpt in that indentation. So I can sculpt in this feature on the other side too. Maybe that works. I have to dance around to find the right wording. But for you can see what I'm doing here visually, I hope this is good enough for now. Now, once again, the application of way too much glue for this under normal circumstance would just be overly excessive. And when you use this kind of technique here, you have to be aware that here all this glue that is in here, in this little piece of cardboard, will dry to a very, very hard, plasticky kind of thing, and it is very difficult to cut it once it's really dry. And I wouldn't use this kind of sculpting technique for any work that's not on the surface. For here, I'm like nearly finished with the surface here, and I'm kind of confident that or that there will be no need for me to cut through the cardboard in this particular place here. And if I wouldn't be sure then yeah, I wouldn't do it, for it's really, really hard to work with this after you applied this much glue. Just try to spread it out a bit. Or just trying to spread it out a bit. Okay. I'm still pushing down all the patches of cardboard that I applied glue to in the last how long is it now? In the last hour. For its still sculptable, and now the edge is completely dry, but on the inside there are still some softer parts, and I can like really massage in this the curvature that I want. Yeah, that I want there. Okay, here now, here when I'm looking at this from the side, there's some spots that I missed while applying the glue, and this will completely backfire, especially with this technique. For there is no softening to the lower layer of the cardboard here, and if it's not soft enough, I won't be able to sculpt in the surface detail. And for me to be able to to sculpt in the detail, I just reapplied glue, or for me to be able to do it, I had to reapply some glue. Okay. Here now, I can try to look at this. Here, the first thing here, or here, I want to apply this to the top of the mask, and both are supposed to sit flush on each other, or the edges should be flush with one another. So I have to check the detail from the top against the detail on the lower side. And what I'm discovering is that here, this is bigger or wider than the lower part of the mask, which means I will have to add some structure here, or some mass here, for this to work. Yeah, but that shouldn't be a problem. And before I started to work on the top side here, I mentioned that I want to strengthen strengthen the these pieces of the lower respirator neck collar Vader mask thing. And yeah, when I'm doing this here, then I can address the outside too. And this way, there's not really a loss of time here. Now maybe I will switch back detail camera here, and here you can see me applying this to the other side. Now what I try to do here is I want to have this edge, or this surface detail here mirror on this side. Now I just try to push in the overall piece, or the whole piece, and once the edges are somewhat glued down, I can sculpt it in. And this here, this crease, yeah, is just a continuation, or this is the bridge of the nose is continued into the forehead, and I try to start this at the feature that I want to move into the forehead. Here I'm a bit silent while doing that, for I don't want to fail here. And I try to look at it from a kind of different angles for me to see if I'm able to have a symmetry that looks good enough. And now to sculpt in this here, I really have to apply a lot of pressure to the cardboard. And I'm very glad that I have so much structural stuff under here, for I would be in danger of crushing the whole mask, this whole face mask thing, if it would be any less strong. Now, what I'm saying is try to have a good foundation, especially when you know you will if a lot of surface work is required in the build, or if you're just building a very angular thing where you know that once you just glue the pieces together, there will be no sculpting done on top of them, then of course you can disregard the overbuilding of strings for the lower structure. Here. It's hard to read on camera now if this works or not, for the white of the glue is like very distracting, and it makes it hard to see what is or what will be the end result of it. But I think that this is on a very good way. Very good. One more thing, kind of fixed, or not fixed, but addressed. Okay. The symmetry line for this mask here is here, like down a bridge of the nose, and then there's like line down here, down the center, and for here now I want to integrate this, and I will match it to the center line. Or that's what I'm like aiming for, or that's my point of reference. And yep, for I know that yeah, this has to be level with the lower part of the mask. I try to have this be on a parallel plane to the surface. For this parallel plane would represent this plane, or represents this plane for me. Now I will just, no, not just, but I will sketch on the center line, and as you might have noticed, I stopped using the black marker. I know that this here is harder to see on camera, at least from some angles, but here it should be all right. For the closer I get to the surface that I want to have, the less I want to introduce any kind of harsh contrasts. So, and here this can be like okay, this is a well, yeah, I'm missing the word right now for the tool which you needed rubber. Yeah, it's a rubber, but how you call the process of getting rid of the pencil line with a rubber? Rubbering it off? I don't know. Maybe someone can help me out here. But I think you know what I mean. I try not to have any kind of black markings or stuff like this, for it will even show through this brown back paper when it is soaked with glue. This might show up on the top layer, and I don't want that. So this is just, the closer I get to the surface, the more I try to stay away from using that. Okay, I will remove this whole triangular part now, but I try to yeah, I want this piece here here, this lower bridge between it, for then there's more stability here. I think I will use some painter's tape. Erasing. Thanks a lot. How do you call the process of getting rid of a pencil line with a rubber? This is like, I don't know, 4th grade English. Thanks. Yeah, that like completely escaped me. That's a sign of age. I should be worried. I should be worried. Thanks a lot. Damn. Oh. That's sad or pathetic. Oh my god. Oh my. Okay, but maybe the reason why I'm not very familiar with it is that when I took art classes, I just like did like, I don't know, for a couple of months. I did like once a week. I had some nude drawing classes, and when I started to draw there, first stage of Alzheimer's, maybe. But here, there's another explanation coming up. Why I so rarely use rubbers, and why I erase so infrequently. When I started going to these life drawing classes, I was like very hesitant when I drew. I just had some very light pencil lines, and then I lay down a darker line, and I erased all the lighter lines. And my art teacher there encouraged me to stop doing that, and he actually forced me, not forced, I mean I was there on my own terms and I paid for it, and so I let him force me to draw with a permanent pen and not with a pencil, and he actually gave me a very thick pen, and that way I was forced to be sure of what kind of line I wanted to draw, or what kind of shape I wanted to draw before I drew it. And this way, as he put it, I was able to stop searching and start finding. And that was actually a really helpful thing that I learned there. Just to like kind of project the line to the paper before you draw it, and then just follow that projection that you have in your head. And from that point onwards, I tried to erase as little as possible, and do, for example, all my sketches with a permanent marker or with a ball pen, and not with a pencil. For you start to get better faster if you try this kind of projecting onto the blank page. Okay, here I hope I secured this lower bridge in a way that it won't rip. And now I want to get rid of these things here. And I guess it's the best way to break it into smaller pieces. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe the top camera. No, I'm not. not sure. I think there's not a perfect angle for this, but yeah, I try to break it into smaller pieces, and then I can get rid of the smaller pieces without trying to rip it out, and then I will have a cascading catastrophe if everything is still connected to the left and the right side. Yeah. So if I damage stuff now, it will just be a small portion of the model. But this actually looks promising. Somehow it looks like an old man that is losing, that has some tooth lost. And here, this is a bandage around. There have been a lot of very very disturbing views in this build process. I just remember the hippie Vader, where the helmet was like a straw thing on his head. Okay. Here I should be, yep, able to get rid of this from here. Okay, this looks very promising. Here's some of these lower structures in this model. Lower, I mean like older structures, are hard to get rid of because I used this hot glue kind of techniques for the structural parts. And yeah, once hot glue is in the system, it is difficult to cut it with a cardboard knife. This is strong. Okay, the one part is removed. Yep. Very good. Now I will have a drink. For I am relieved that this seems to work the way I intended it to. I'm looking for my very trusted drink stand here, like this. And when I put it in there, I can't knock the bottle over. Extremely effective. Okay, I have a video about this on my channel. Very effective. And I will use this even when I have some kind of drinks or whatever on the floor. For the most of the drinks that I knock over are on the floor. And when I'm sitting here and working and filming, I try not to have any kind of open bottle here on the table. For first, there's a lot of technique for the streaming stuff. And then there's the models that I'm working on. So I try to separate liquids and these models. But if I just put it onto the ground, I always knock it over with my feet. And this drink stand keeps me from doing that. So this is a very helpful thing for me. Whoa. Now, there's some parts in here that are extremely strong. So I have to like really dig into here. This is like an archaeological thing. I have to remove it like layer by layer. But the good thing is that I can remove it layer by layer. And I knew beforehand, now I can break it away. I knew beforehand that this was just temporary, and it served its purpose well. And there was... okay. This is trying to come loose here, but... So it was definitely a good idea to hold it into place. For even if it's not attached here anymore, it is still giving me a good reference to the width of it. Even if it would get squashed at the inside, I can just pull it back out, and I yeah, still have the information about the edge. Oops. Okay. Yeah, just I want to take a look into my very nice art book, and I showed the pictures before, but I just want to check how this is built. Okay, here there's on the lower part of the mask, so here, there's not just this one pipe here, but the beginning of the second pipe, or of the pipe that moves into the upper part of the face mask, is on the lower side. And here, this means that the outside of this thing, of this part, is like completely exposed here, and then this the cheekbone will be kind of here. Can you? Yeah, I think you can see that. And the here, this rod thing is on here, and like this and this to this sides here. Yeah, it was just important for me to visualize how the final thing will look once I insert this here. And here, after having seen that, all this will be gone. For just this, the outside wall will be showing there, and That means I can get rid of these two things here. And okay, here as I mentioned, there was no connection anymore, and I'm trying to very carefully remove this painter's tape very carefully, so I'm not ripping into the surface of the cardboard. Okay, and maybe like this. Okay, so I'm just like projecting this line to the lower edge, and then I'm trying to cut along this line. This is where all the hot glue is. Now, and here it's not just hot glue. This was an area where I applied quite a lot of glue, and this is like a solid piece of plastic. Okay, this was too much. Now this is no longer a straight line. Let me check that. But this is good. Actually, it's okay if it's like curved or angled, curved, whatever, forwards a bit. Okay, now I can once again check for symmetry here, and here these are like the last chances for me to correct any kinds of errors in the model. Okay, this, if I remember correctly, is completely solid. To get this out of here will be a bit of work, and yeah, I need to yeah, here I will just carve out small pieces. Okay, so here now with a bit of light, here I will just piece by piece, or like slice by slice, I will remove that. For if I use too much force, I will break this whole structure here, and I don't want to risk losing that. Whoop. Whoop. Yeah. Ba-bum. I'm not sure if this if the side wall here is long enough to bridge this space between the front of this respirator thing and the beginning of the cheekbone. I will see. No, no. As I said, slice by slice, and sometimes it's easiest just to slice, and then to cross cut against the slice that you put there beforehand. It's like when you're chopping a tree. It's like, and then you're trying to get rid of these wedges. Okay, I'm trying to be careful here, not to destroy any part of this that is still needed. This can be shown here. When I lay down the cuts like this, just a lot of small cuts, then I can come in from the side and get rid of the pieces. And in this way I'm slowly working my way forward, but I'm kind of sure that I won't destroy the areas that I want to keep. Right now, here this looks a little bit like the mask from Gladiator, or at least to me. Oops. But a mask that that you use for fighting, that will not protect your nose, is like really not a mask worth using while fighting. Hey, I just saw that the edges here are not as defined anymore as they were when I left them, so I will just define them again, and I will be able to define them or to enforce them for at least another hour or stuff, because there was so much glue in there that it takes quite a long time before it dries off. And the problem with the glue drying there is that here, as you can maybe see, here the surface here is like very shiny, and that means that there's like a closed layer of glue on top of there, and no air or whatever will be able to come to the wet glue on the inside from the top. So everything has to kind of find its way through the cardboard from the lower side, and this lets the glue stay kind of sculptable for a long time. Okay, this is nearly nearly finished. Yeah, just some more like circular motions. Always just taken a tiny little bit. But in this way making sure that I'm not penetrating or not cutting through any layer of the cardboard that I don't intend to. Slow but safe process here. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay. It kind of works out. Yeah. I will cut more stuff from here, but now I sketched the center line to the top of this piece, and I sketched the center line to the bridge of the nose. And if I match up center line, and then make sure that it's on a flat plane, you can see that it's offset to the left a bit. Here, there would be a perfect fit there, but not here. Now I have to make sure if it's just the mask not being being cut in a straight line. Let's see, like this. How this holds up. Okay, I think the backwards angle is a bit too pronounced here, but overall it's kind of okay. Or this has to recede a bit. Nice. It's reasonably close. Now I will get rid of this piece of the nose here. Or I won't like actively cut it away now, but if I lose any of that while I'm cutting away on the inside, that's not a problem. For this is more like the transition area between this piece and the rest of the nose, or the rest of the mask, but the rest of the bridge of the nose. You can I'm a bit nervous maybe you hear my heavy breathing. But okay, there's no need to be nervous anymore. For this first fitting was produced a better result as I hoped. Okay. This is carved out. And now when I will just bend it away and later on decide if I will cut it. Ouch. Very nice, very nice. Here, if I angle this a little bit, then I have a little bit of breathing room down here, and let me see that again. It is actually okay. That's good. This is very, very good. Yeah, right now I can't really push the nose all the way in. I'll have to get rid of a bit more of the underlying structure here. But overall, it's like as if I made it for it. Okay, just a little more here. A little material reduction. By the way, this way of cutting stuff with a cardboard knife really kills the blades. It will be dull after it, and cutting through this hot glue stuff is also not really the best for the blade. But yeah, that's all that I have here right now. But this might not be the tool of choice. But before you start doing it, maybe you insert an older blade, or you just set one blade to the side and just keep it for like work like this. And now I try to match up the two edges there. Okay, let's check that again. I still can't completely push it in. Oh, and as you can see, this was here a a structure where I had like, I don't know, 20 layers of cardboard. For at first it was just this curvature, then I put on the cheekbones and stuff, and then the bridge of the nose. So this was just a complete wall of cardboard, a completely solid wall of cardboard there. The positive thing is that there is a very nice ground layer now, or a really nice surface for me to glue in the respirator piece here. Okay. And now I try to watch for symmetry errors. Or a very easy way for me right now to fix them is once this is glued in here, and I know it is kind of straight, then I can just forcefully push the side walls towards this thing. Or this is the center for the final mask now. Okay. I need to get rid of a bit of this edge here. But it is giving me trouble. It's really annoying to come across all this leftovers from the hot glue. Maybe I should try to find a different way to prepare the understructures. Okay. Okay, there's even more that I need to cut. And right now, this is boring, but I really don't want to rush it now. For this marriage between this piece and the top of the mask is like the start to the finishing of it. Like this is moving back. I need to get rid of this, even though I don't know how I will continue this cheekbone thing here, but I hope a way will present itself. And for me right now it's a bit hard to say anything really meaningful, for I'm You're in kind of new territory here, and yeah, I've never done it, and right now there's just a lot of different parameters, variables that I try to look for or watch out for all at once. But this, if I'm able to include this today, I would be very happy with the results. Here, I really have to get rid of a lot of stuff on this side. I'm wondering how difficult it will be to match this side to this side then. Okay, this seems to be enough now. Huh? Very good. Now, there's a lot of different variations of the Vader mask. Yesterday, I, in preparation of today's live stream, I watched Rogue One. I liked it. I liked it. And there's like a lot of Vader in the end, and they try to really model him or his helmet to mimic the helmet from A New Hope, so from the old first movie. And the first helmet, this New Hope helmet, is quite different from the one that is in Empire and then in Return of the Jedi. And here there's some helmets that have where there is a ridge between this front triangle of the respirator and the starting of the mask, and there's some where this is flush with the backside. And I think in Jedi there's this ridge, and if anything, this helmet is more a Return of the Jedi kind of helmet. For that's when we saw the inside of the helmet the first time. And for me, just on a lazy side, it's much easier to build the Jedi helmet, or that's what I was aiming for, but it's easier right now. For I don't need to worry about this ridge that is presenting itself here. Okay, I think I will just force glue it in, and then I have to make sure that it's straight all the time. And then once this is glued in, I can try to conform the rest to the model. Decisions. I will first straighten this line here. This way I have a better view of the center line and of the placement. Okay, I will remove a little more here so I can push it in a bit deeper, which reduces the distance between the top of the nose here and the top of this thing. Now, one thing I will do, because if I just glue it in the way it is right now, then all the glue will just stick to the top of this brown paper here. And this in turn means that it's very hard to have any kind of meaningful bond between this piece and the rest of the mask. To give it more strength, I will cut the surface here in multiple little, wait, I show it to you. It's difficult with the light. Okay, you can see it, but not very good. So I will use the close-up. Here, I will cut multiple valleys in here with multiple depths, and this way the glue can penetrate into this piece here. And I will use way too much glue, and then there will be the glue will here sneak to the inside of the cardboard everywhere here, and wait. And it has plenty of little spaces to go into here, and then when I press it together like this, it should form a real strong bond. For, as I told you, the glue when dried is like a hard piece of plastic. What?